Hello, hello, everybody. How are you doing today? Always the toughest part of the show, right? The uh the small talk before people come in. It's hard to fill up this little space, and I know a lot of people will just let it run for a couple minutes until people come in, start coming in. But I know that for the people that click on later, it's good to have some kind of introduction. So I hope that um, the alerts are getting out there. Let me make sure that everything is working. Let me put out a notice to let people know that I'm live, and we'll see what happens. It's always different every time, so it's very hard to predict what is how these alerts go out. So let me put out this notice here, and maybe that'll help some people. And if not, then it'll just be the few of us. Hey, Deb, what's going on? Good to see you. I hope that you can hear everything okay. And you got here pretty quick. I mean, a couple minutes in. So that's a good sign. Maybe there's like a magic like time where it's like poof, like 4 or 5 people or something like that. But I'll tell you what, I'm grateful that even one person shows up here, you know? I don't have a cold. What That's very perceptive. But I don't have a cold, but I was out today and it is cold outside. And so my nose runs a little bit when it's cold. And the craziest thing happened, not really craziest, but hey Dee Dee, how you doing? Um, what's kind of crazy is today, I was at the hospital today and just to see one of my nurses, right? And I just go for an appointment once a week just to have a face-to-face visit, you know. And the windows were so clean on this new building they built, right? That I when I was leaving, right, I'm walking down the stairs and there's doors to the right, which are like kind of like an emergency exit. Kind of. I mean, you can go out or in, but it's not the main entrance, right? And I went to go out that door and I ran right into the window, man. I mean, it looked like you could just walk right through it, like it was outside, right? And it didn't really hurt, but you know how like when you hit something, it like rattles your bones a little bit, and you're like, "Ooh, that's not good," you know? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it didn't hurt too bad, but it left kind of a feeling of like, wow, I'm not as sturdy as I used to be, man. Because I used to be I mean, I still am kind of a sturdy guy, I guess. But like, used to be if I walked into a window like that, that thing would break, you know? Yeah, it is. It's very startling, actually. But I've actually had like times where because I don't sleep that much and I'll just fall asleep wherever. Sometimes, like very rare, but sometimes I'll fall asleep when I'm standing up and like hit my head on something or whatever. And so I've gone through that. So that's even more startling, to be honest. You wake up and you're like, oh, my face, oh, you know. It's just the worst thing ever. You wake up to this like horrific sound, right? No, no, no. See, you're going to start something by saying that, and then it's going to end up like on like, oh, look, good servant. Look, he falls asleep everywhere, man. He's crazy. When the reality is, I just pushed myself so hard because I want this to be so good that that I don't think about sleep. I don't think about food. These are things that are like in the way of what I'm trying to do. And so, you know, it's kind of like a character flaw in myself that while I'm being selfless, you know what I mean? Like that I ignore kind of taking care of myself, you know. And yeah, the glass thing, yeah, that's not normal. It was a brand new building. It is funny. Okay. Ha ha, laugh it up, right? Laugh it up, everybody. Let's laugh at Good Servant. But yeah, I don't care, man. I don't care what people think of me. I know that God knows me, you know, and it's like being in this body. I know that I won't be able to worship God the right way until I'm out of this body, you know. Then I could do it perfect and sing songs all the time. And I don't know where everybody is. I mean, it's a good question. I mean, maybe there's nobody wants to come, you know. Hold on, let me put a notice out. It is possible that people don't want to come see me. Let me see here. Um, I'll just say that if you want to watch, I am live. But it was like this when with the other day, and what do you call it? It was just Cindy in the chat for a little while, and then everybody did pour in. Like it was like after a while too, you know, like probably 10, 15 minutes went by. Then everybody started pouring in, you know. But oh well, right? It's my fault for being late, or else like a lot of times people will be there waiting, but like because I'm late sometimes. Malachi 3:10. Okay, hold on a second. I'm getting it. All right. I should type this in right. Bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in mine house, and prove me now herewith, said the Lord of hosts, if I will not open you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing, that there you shall receive room enough to receive it. Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful. And yeah, I mean, like, I think that was like one of the first places that I looked, where it actually tells you to kind of test God a little bit, right? Like tithe to people, right? Or tithe and you'll get more back, right? Like, and it's like one of the rare chances that, God allows you to kind of test him, right? Like tithe your money and you'll get more back. And it's you and your numbers. I wonder what any of that means, all these numbers, right? Like I know that like how the gematria works, right? And I know that the more connections you have, the more the more you're involved with it, right? Or the more connections a certain subject has, the more connections that has involved with it. But it's really right. Like I don't know why people don't think that that's even the most confirmation, is because there is right, absolutely right. There's a pattern to creation, and it's impossible to deny, right? Because the way the gematria works is you can almost like you can divine a little bit, you know. And so for it to be in English, right, at this moment in time, when English is a younger language, right, it goes to show you that God knew exactly where we would be, right, at this moment. And it's remarkable, right? It's just remarkable. And do the numbers, right? Say you're like a German person, you can do it in that language too, you know. The golden angle. So the golden ratio. Is it we're talking Fibonacci sequence like that, or I've heard of golden ratio before, and I've heard of the Fibonacci sequence, and I can't remember what it is, but I do know that it is in a lot of architecture, like people do build and create things based on that, you know. And it's even in nature, to be honest. It's in nature, even like in the structure of like flowers, and like in the structure of like you know, beehives and stuff like that, honeycombs. Right, the Fibonacci sequence, right? It's just it's remarkable. It's remarkable how these, well, of course, numbers is a language, right? Just like English or French or German, right? It's a language to describe, right? But it's amazing how it's in everything, right? What's going on? What's truth? How you doing, buddy? I saw you were busy doing some videos, and I normally don't watch those, you know, like that kind of stuff, right? Just because I just want to stay, you know, stay away from it. But that's not, those ones you did were funny. It's like your breath is like, whoa. I thought that was funny. Hey, what's up, Sack Truth Movement? Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just I'm just so grateful, man, that we are where we are. Like I know that things look, you know, rough, I guess, if you follow the headlines, and of course there's always pain in the world, right? But you know, the overall message, right, is that we are on the winning side, right? And we're going to get out of here. And a lot of people are going to be so happy when this is finally, because it's, you know, God promises it to be like a vapor, right? It's like a vapor. And that's very fast. I mean, if you think about all of time or years or thousands of years, right? Centuries, right? It's nothing to eternity, right? I mean, it's like minutes, right? And so while something might seem like a very long time to us, right? And it seems like time is speeding up so fast. Like these weeks have been flying by. Because like my mom wanted to take me out to breakfast like 4 weeks ago, and I can't, like we did cancel 3 times, right? And but the weeks flew by so fast, right? It's almost like, you know, what's another week? You know, it almost feels like a day. Oh, are you back? Are you back home, Deb? I think that's great. Well, I'm glad you feel better, relieved, home sweet home, right? I'm glad that you're going to be able to stay in your place, and that they're not gonna move you just yet, which is good, right? It's always good to have that stability, right? To have that stability. And hey, what's truth? I wanted to know if you knew how to find people that do homeschooling, like in Oklahoma. Like, how would you look? How would you do that search for people that like? Because I know someone that wants to do homeschooling for their kid, but doesn't feel qualified, even though I think he probably is. And so I wonder how to do that. Like, I'm trying to get like some resources for people, but it's tough when people are all over the country. Oh, there he is. There's Chris. I was asking start with local, the Facebook community groups. So Chris, if you want to look for homeschooling in Oklahoma, he says start at the start local with Facebook community groups. Oh, you're from Oklahoma? And so I bet it was just a culture shock, right? To go to New Zealand. Hello, the Ravens. Welcome, both of you. Yes. Well, see, I almost don't even know how to use Facebook. I mean, I have Facebook and I put like a couple messages here or there. I struggled with finding a profile picture recently, so it looks like I take pictures of myself all the time. And I'm struggling, I'm always struggling with that. And so I don't want to ever put off that impression, but oh well, right? And so it was like every, I don't know, few days I'd put like something positive, I feel happy, God bless everybody, right? Because there's so much like I wouldn't say negativity, but like opinions, right? Everybody's opinion is out there. When I was always taught, like as a kid, right? Like just because I have a thought doesn't mean I have to express it, right? Like if I'm feeling like having a cup of coffee, I don't need to type that for the world, I just it's just something that it's my own personal thought, right? But it's crazy, right? Because I remember it used to be MySpace, right? And I had a girlfriend, right? She had a MySpace page, and we kind of gave her crap about it, Ooh, you got a MySpace page. It's like the worst thing ever, It kind of teased her a little bit or whatever. But now now you have to have it to communicate, and it's hopeful, I think, when you're communicating with like, say, your grandma or your uncle or something like that you barely would talk to, right? At least they know how you're doing or something like that. What's up, James? Oh, I'm so glad that you're here, man. I've known James a long time. Long time. I got to Flat Earth in 2017. I wish I came with like the original group, when everyone was building all the arguments and debates and all that. Yeah, God knows what's on our hearts, that's for sure. And I think that he's the best to judge that, right? Because he'll know at the harvest what to do, right? And I know that no matter what it is or what I think about it, I know that it'll be fair, right? Whatever happens will be fair. And I trust that. I really do. I trust God. What's going on, Luke? It's good that you're here. And so, like, yeah, man, there's just I want to focus more like on things like that we're looking forward to, like, I know it's hard to talk about the kingdom already, right? Like, I know that, like, and we don't really know that much about it, right? But it's like this, the doom and gloom stuff when we know what's going to happen, right? Like, you know, it's all, the narrative is written out. Like we know it's going to happen. And so we could talk about that, how it matches up. And I think with all the mandates being lifted, which is what it looks like, right? Could be, right? That's a perfect opportunity for the man of sin to walk in and clean everything up, right? And if that happens, right, then it's just a matter of time, right? Just a matter of time. So I'm going to drop the link for Luke. Do you want to come up? Because I know that I wanted to have you up, but I wasn't sure if I was going to have somebody else up. But if you want, you can come up. It's your turn, which I appreciate, you know, of course. Not a lot of tornadoes the last few years. Well, that's good. I mean, I hope that it doesn't, like, you know, a lot of them happen. You know, that's always the fear, right? When you don't have them for a while, you're like, oh no, I hope that it doesn't just like one day be bad, right? But I remember all the talk about, oh, the Skype link that I sent you. Okay, if you got a Skype link from me, right? So far, I mean, gonna send it to everybody. If you got a Skype link from me, it means to I'm trying to add you to my Skype group. So I added you today, Chris, already. So that way when I put out a message, right, I can put a message out to like 30 people at once. And so it's helpful. And a lot of you guys are already on that list. But to the ones that aren't, I'm in the process of, because like instead of just saying, hey guys, sign up for, you know, Skype or whatever, and then find me, right? I just sent you my Skype link, and if you're not signed up, you can just you know, you can just sign up, and then, you know, you'll be attached to my profile. You know, we'll be friends automatically. It says, yeah, funny said that, Chris, because I was about to say the wind left when I did in New Zealand. Oh yeah, the wind. Wow. Well, New Zealand is kind of like one of those places, right? There's no, like, you said there's no animals, there's no, like, I mean, like dangerous animals or whatever. There's no like crazy storms, right? It's like a little paradise, right? Like the Garden of Eden. Oh, well, that's cool. See, because now, see, and here's the thing, you don't always have to go on like camera if you don't want. Like, I never go on camera on Skype. I mean, only with like AJM, like if he, you know, begs me or whatever, then I'll do it, right? But like most of the time I don't. Like, it's just, so don't feel like you got to be on camera if you're a member of Skype. It's just a convenience thing because we have so many people in different countries, right? That it's free to connect to them in that way. And it's the same for Facebook, and I guess text would be the same, right? But a text group and a Facebook group are annoying. I mean, completely annoying. When you get, you know, a message and then someone says, "Who's this?" you know, and then everyone gets that message, and then, I mean, it's nonstop. It's crazy, right? But with the Skype, you go, you know, you look at it and you see if there's like 3 or 4 messages in there or whatever, and it, you know, it doesn't bother you, you know. And so you're saying Google Duo is a good FaceTime app. Okay, okay. I mean, I hate having to be on all these different platforms, but you kind of, there's no way to avoid it, right? I mean, I need to do email because that's kind of a way I kind of like screen people before they get my phone number, you know? And then like if you're on my email, right? Even if we never email, like you could be on my list to where I could send out voice clips, right? So I could do this show and send it out to you when, say, if YouTube like crashes or whatever, you know, or whatever. I'll be able to still send out like some kind of, you know, voice messages. And I think it's cool, like little 10-minute shows or whatever. Oh, King Solomon in the ring. See, now I think that someone was saying that the Garden of Eden was, I don't know, and you never know who you can trust nowadays, but I always perk up when I hear people talking about where it could have been or where it is, you know. And someone said that it was like fits the description of somewhere in like the Philippines, right? But I don't know. I mean, who knows, right? But that would be cool though. Tropical, you know, plenty of fish, like, you know, I don't know. I could just imagine, like, I don't know, if I was Adam and Eve, I'd just be eating vegetables and fruits, you know what I mean? Part of it is that they're always watching and listening. Yeah, always. Yeah. I mean, no matter what, we're being watched and listened to. We're a very small group, right? And they for sure know who you are. And that's not like a paranoid or arrogant thing to think, right? Like they know who we are. Because like if you go to these truth channels, right, like none of them are real big, right? And it seems like, oh, drop the link. Okay, yeah. Let me get the link. Hold on a second. I don't know what I was even saying, but yeah, they know who we are, and I mean, I'm pretty sure of that. And it's only a matter of time before they get us, you know. But oh well, like I'm actually looking forward to that. I mean, if they told me I had to get the jab, right, I would submit, right, to you know, if they wanted to kill me, I'm cool with that. Like I'd just be like getting the I'd get in the you know, whatever you call it, you know, death row line or whatever it is, execution, because I'm not doing it, you know. And I wonder if you consent to that, like if you let them know, like, oh yeah, I'll consent to that, like the, I wonder if they'll like, you know, the less tribulation we have to deal with, the better, right? And I don't know if everybody feels that way. Some people look at me like I'm crazy saying stuff like that, but it is what it is, right? You feel how you feel, you know. Hey Luke, welcome to the show, buddy. How you doing, man?
Hey, what's going on, brother? Always good to hear from you, buddy.
Yeah, good to hear from you too, man. I like the you put out a couple videos or whatever, and it's always pretty good, man. You're always doing your little rant, you know.
Yeah, I think I'll keep that consistent. I used to make videos, and my original channel got banned, and then this one had a couple strikes because I did videos in this one like a year or two ago, and that kind of like stopped my motivation for a while to make videos. And then I don't know, I just been finding good channels. I mean, this channel is great, and kind of just motivated me to start making videos again, and just gonna go with the ship till it sinks, I guess, you know.
And I think that's what we got to do, right? Because like I think like if you do like your videos once in a while, or Faith does her videos, and Stephanie and Jake are doing their videos, right? And like everyone's doing their thing, right? Like I think that's going to be the way that we're going to get our information, is from each other, because it's who do you trust out there, it's hard to sift through all that stuff,
Yeah, exactly. And I was just thinking too, and of course it's your channel. I'm not gonna tell you how to do YouTube, but you should make like a backup channel, even if you don't really post videos on it, just in case that one ever did get deleted. People would know where to go and all that.
I have a backup channel called Good Servant 2. Good Servant.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know if anybody has a wrench in there. I can't see because I can't tell who has a wrench and who doesn't. But if somebody has a wrench in there, put it in the Good Servant 2. And so yeah, I mean, I tried to do, this is what I wanted to do, Luke, right? As soon as I got that first strike it was like a warning strike, they say you get 3 strikes, but it's really 4. You get a warning strike, and then you get 3 strikes, right? And like when I got the first strike, it was for medical advice, because I was telling people to like be cautious and like study things, right? And it's like you could tell people to get jabbed all day, but if you tell someone to think about it, right, that's advice. That's crazy, man. And so I was like, well, I'm gonna make another channel and then only do live from that backup channel, and that way if it gets deleted or whatever, it is what it is. But nobody, like, it's hard to get people to subscribe to your backup channel,
Yeah, true. It is true. And it makes things
like
harder,
50
but
people.
it's just something we gotta do too to improvise. But it's never gonna be the same amount of people. Your original channel, say it gets deleted, like you're lucky to have a fifth of those people come back. I think a lot of us would though, because it doesn't seem like a lot of chats are as close as this one. Part of it, being a small group, and part of it
Yeah.
is we do really care for each other, and that definitely helps. And you can kind of get away with getting new channels that way because everybody's close. We're still kind of on the same like social circle, I guess.
Right. This is kind of how we hang out,
But yeah, exactly. I mean, even just outside of YouTube and all that, it's gonna be a lot improvising. Am I gonna have to pay somebody to get groceries for me because I didn't, take the jab? And it's gonna be really great though, because of course, one day closer to home, and all this is gonna pass. But I do think I don't think it's gonna be my thing is I don't think it's gonna be complete chaos right away. A couple years ago, I honestly thought martial law was going to happen. They were really going to, have lockdowns as all the time. But I think now it's just to get the next generation to accept it, kind of get people used to getting the jab, get people used to closing things down every now and then, and have a new variant. So I think it's going that way, but we still might be like a somewhat normal couple of years because they do seem to take their time with everything, just with the repeated programming and lies. They get people to really accept it and not even like fight against it, or just like it's normalized pretty much is what I'm trying to say, or they're trying to normalize it.
Yeah, I mean, I like for sure. I honestly think that this is a good, well, not good, but it's a door for like the Antichrist figure, the man of sin, to come in. And like, okay, there's just enough chaos, right? To if one guy came in and cleaned it all up, like, oh, no more mandates, man, forget the bull crap, and that like someone could get behind a guy like that, right? And then if there's any kind of supernatural thing about him, people are gonna just probably, because you saw what they did for Trump, dude. Like they almost worship him.
People worship guys like Alex Jones and Trump, and they don't even really do anything, right? I mean, at least Alex Jones says a little bit of truth or whatever, but they're not really doing anything to actually fight the system. So if there is somebody out there that, like you said, does stop all these mandates or fixes things up a little bit, people are going to be all over them.
Yeah. They're gonna get behind this guy, and it's gonna be big, man. Then people are gonna start worshiping this guy, right? And then it's gonna be like, oh no. Because I think that like the man of sin, right, from like what I read in the Bible is that he wants to just imitate Jesus, to where like he's gonna fool people to think, oh no, this is Jesus right here. All paths lead to this one guy, and this is it. But like, this is why Christians get hated in the end. Is we're gonna be like, no, this isn't the guy. Like, Jesus comes next, right? And they're gonna be like, you're the only ones that won't accept it. And I could see this whole thing playing out, right? Like that they'll want us dead, like we're stopping progress, right?
Yeah, like
And
keeping society behind. Even like before all that, if people are gonna be like, oh well, yes, coming from the same guy that believes in flat Earth, that doesn't believe in science and thinks NASA's a lie. Like, they already kind of look down on people who are willing to think outside the box. And so when you get to that point, then it's just gonna be a lot more shaming for sure. And a lot of people are probably gonna be deceived by it.
well, I wonder if like, with this whole thing, the metaverse and virtual reality and stuff, like, is there going to be a way to, if we can, like, so like, let's say a human being could exist in there and pretty much just be in there all the time, as long as they're being fed or kept alive somehow, right? Like almost like the Matrix, right? I mean, it's sick to think about it, right? But you wonder, like, is there going to be some promise that, like, one day they'll be able to download your consciousness into this thing, and you won't need your body anymore? Now, if the mark is attached to that, some kind of, bird in the hand immortality, you know, this is right in front of you, take it or leave it, or take a leap of faith and, do it the way it says in the Bible, right? And you wonder if that's going to be the choice, right, of taking the mark or not.
That, yeah, definitely makes me think. I think it's a very good possibility. I mean, they're really promoting it. I just saw an article because I'll get random Yahoo headlines and stuff on my phone, and Snoop Dogg's already part of the metaverse. It's called Snoopverse, and then Paris Hilton has something with the metaverse where she actually tries to like sell outfits inside the metaverse to people. So it's already becoming like a thing. Yeah, there's actually a movie too. I didn't watch much of it, but the concept was the world was like really bad and things were just getting torn apart, but people were playing a video game to make actual money in like the real world. They have to like win in a video game to get this money, and then that's the money you have in the real world. And I don't know, it just kind of gets people used to going to simulated realities to become like a part of life.
Right. And then like we see like what happened with the internet, right? The internet was supposed to be, to connect you to other, to people around the world, to give you, access to all this information and knowledge, right? But immediately it went to depravity, right? All this, porn, the porn industry exploded, right? And so that this metaverse, it's going to be perverted in that way too. People are going to be in their fantasy, right? And in reality, and it's gonna be.
True. Yeah, you're breaking
Are
up
you
a
there,
little
Luke?
bit, but they're gonna almost mix
It's only
reality. You're
because,
not gonna know which one's real.
yeah. I mean, it's just it's crazy, right? Because like for us, we would rather be in reality because that's what we know, right? But like if you were young and raised into this metaverse, lifestyle, it's kind of like how kids know how to use like an iPad or something like that. Like they're used to it already, right? Now let's say they grow up, they become adults, right? In this metaverse life, right? This next generation, right? I mean, people are just going to be like, I mean, people are going to stay in this because, as much as we're on the internet now, that's how much people are going to be in this metaverse because of like just how much more advanced of an internet it will be, because it's always going to be building on itself. Like these AIs are going to like, so like one AI will build another AI that's better than that AI, and it keeps going back and forth, you know, to where it'll be beyond what we could create.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see it that way. That for sure, the first thing you said, where it is going to advance to the point where people aren't even going to question it; they're getting born into it. And I mean, right now, VR is a huge thing. Social media. You were talking earlier about MySpace days. I mean, MySpace, I think, was like around what, like 06, 07. So, maybe 15 years ago, give or take. And look now, it's like Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook. You're almost behind your time if you don't have a social media. Certain jobs ask what your Facebook is, and
Right.
it's almost like not having a cell phone if you don't have a social media, because it's that much of a part of life, which is good in some ways, but in other ways, it's kind of, I think, all preparing us for the metaverse, because people are gonna, even people like in the generations now are going to think it's normal, and then generations from now, that's just probably going to be what they're born into.
Well, yeah, and see, like okay, so it's like this, right? Like we know that like having a pen, right? We can write down phone numbers, right? So now we don't have to remember them, but we lose the strength of being able to remember them because we rely on that pen, right? Well, it's going to get to the point where when you have an interface, right, to the internet in your brain, right, or somewhere, or you're wearing it on your head or whatever, right, you're going to be relying on like, okay, now my intelligence is like everything in the world. I know it, right? But I'm relying on that interface so much that I won't have my own thoughts anymore. Like that part of me will be weaker because I'm dependent on this, on their brain, right? And it's like you can almost see how as human beings get weaker, right? They take more and more over. I mean, when I start thinking about this, it gets real sick, man. It gets real sick because it's like it's like if I gave you a wheelchair and wheeled you around everywhere, and then like 2 years later you get out of that wheelchair, you have to learn how to walk. You won't be able to. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it goes
yeah,
with simple things too, even spell checking on the phone. I have my one phone
everything.
doesn't have spell check, the other one does, and then it throws me off sometimes, and I'm like, wow, like, we're just dependent on so much with technology, and the way it's been leading so far. If it keeps going at this rate, it's scary to think about what could happen in the future.
Yeah, very scary. It can happen very fast too.
Yeah, like you
Yeah.
said, the AI is getting smarter and more complex, and being able to, faster and faster upload more updates, I guess, and
Yeah.
lead to really, really sinister science fiction type stuff.
And then think about this, right? Like with the jab, right? And what the implications that has um as far as like being close to like fitting the description of the mark of the beast, right? And then you add that to the technology, right? Which is like so easy to make that connection once you start talking about like IDs to make sure that you've taken it or whatever they're injecting. Like if there's some kind of like technology or that nano stuff or whatever, right? Like there's so many possibilities of that, right? Now, if they're able to connect the job with technology, boom, that's it, because then it's not only a mark in your skin, but it's thoughts and actions too.
Yeah, and
Crazy.
that's scary to think about. I've watched a couple videos where they said it's almost could be an operating system. The people that are getting bad reactions could also be because their body's not accepting the technology inside of you.
Well, what does the Bible say? It says that people would get grievous sores, right? And that's
Yeah, that's
scary as hell because it's happening, man. People are getting these sores all over from this crap. Because there's always going to be a segment of the population that is going to be, allergic. You know what I mean? And I mean, I just like I feel like the only time I'm ever in fear or that I'm ever hurt is for other people because like I know how it says in the Bible a lot of times, like not to be deceived, don't be deceived, right? A lot of times, everywhere, right? And it says that even the very elect would be deceived if that were possible. And you think that like being truthers for as long as we've been truthers, right? We're pretty much ready for everything being a scam, right? And almost to the point where we're auto hoaxing everything. So imagine if you're not in that mind frame, right? You're just a regular, you know, zombie sheep out there, right? And I mean, you start falling for this stuff, right? I mean, I am scared for them, you know,
Yeah,
scared for
yeah,
them.
me too, man. I mean, hopefully, you know, there is a type of a mass awakening because I think that is possible too. Because I was saying in one of my videos how people with high statuses, you know, doctors, you know, even if they get censored, people will personally know them and know that they quit their job and all that time in school not to take it. It might make them question it. So hopefully, things like that will make people think. But yeah, I don't know. It's just so deep with the generations of lies that we've been living, and it's hard to unpeel each you know, level of lies.
Yeah, we'll get
I mean,
there though.
I thought I knew a lot of the truth until, you know, I looked in the flat earth. You know, I thought I knew a lot of the truth until I looked into some of these hoaxes. I'm like, is it really that deep? You know, are, you know, all these local politicians and even just locally popular famous people, are they part of the deception? And you know, it really makes you think because I just can't see the average sheep being able to wake up that quick. I mean, with God, I mean, anything's possible, but it took a lot of time, I'm sure, for a lot of us to get to where we are right now.
Yeah, it did, man. I mean, it really did. I mean, like, I really had to like get to the point where I had to I mean, it was hard to like come to that conclusion that okay, I'm not gonna go to the news and tell them about flat Earth and they're gonna spread it to the world. Like, I thought that's how it worked, you know? Like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go tell the newspaper, and once this flat Earth stuff gets out there, everyone will be on, you know. But that's not how it is, man. You can't run to the police to tell them what the government did because it's the same people. You can't run to the news because it's the same people. Can't run to Hollywood. It's the same people. And
Yep, exactly,
you know,
everywhere.
yeah. And to get to that point is hard, right? Because you're like, wow, I have to really, you know, get to the point where wow, everything is a conspiracy. Like, like everything is a secret group, or
Yeah, and just like the whole other side too, it's like, are any of these movements organic? You know, even back in the flat, what happened to all these celebrities that believed in it and then just went away? You know, Shaquille O'Neal was talking about it, and Kyrie Irving and Tila Tequila, one of the WWE wrestlers. So almost like seemed like there's an organic awakening going on, and all of a sudden nobody talks about any of that.
right? You're right. It's crazy. And see, like what they'll do, right? Is now well, I think Kyrie Irving's a very smart guy, right? But like a lot of times what they'll do is they'll put the idea out in people that like are not like, you know, known for their intelligence, you know, just so it makes it look more ridiculous, right? It's like if you have someone like you know, like an astrophysicist that's famous that comes out with something like that, then it's more respected, right? So they'll leak it out a little bit, you know, in a couple of, you know, celebrities that are, you know, so far away from being experts in these fields, right? Just to, it's like a controlled op, man. Everything's such a controlled op and a mind game, and you almost don't know who to trust, man. I mean, look, it got down to the point, Luke. This is real, man. I asked my mom, right? Do you have pictures of me in the hospital after I was born? Like that's how sick it. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't even know if I was even born out of my family, right? Like that's how much I questioned reality, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you have to be open-minded like that because, I mean, the truth just seems so far out of the lies because the deception's so deep that, you know, the opposite of what you think is probably like, you know, the truth in some of these things. So yeah, you gotta question things like that. I mean, it could be like the Truman Show. So I don't
Yeah.
blame you. You know, you don't want to like jump into conclusions right away, but you don't want to
Right.
dismiss anything either.
I know it. Well, you know what time it is, Luke.
Oh yeah, the old dusty trail, my friend.
Time to hit the old dusty trail. And here's the good news, right? Is that we know the end of the story, right? And we know that we win. We're going to go to the kingdom. That's because, you know, Jesus paid that price, right? Because praise Jesus for his sacrifice and his grace. All glory to God. And I pray for the children. And I will see you guys tomorrow at 7 a.m. Thanks, Luke, for coming on.
Take care, brother.